Welcome to Extraordinary Women TV with Shannon Skinner. I am joined by guest Joann Lim, who is the Making It Happen specialist. She's also a soccer player, a foodie, a world traveler, and has already enjoyed her first retirement. But no longer. She's based in Toronto. Well, hello, Joann.
Hi, Shannon, and thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's great having you here in the studio. Now, you are the Making It Happen specialist.
Yeah.
What is a Making It Happen specialist?
A Making It Happen specialist is a transformer. It's somebody who's able to take whatever it is, so it's a vision, it's a dream, it's an aspiration, and translate that into reality. You know, there's a lot of people out there who have these wild visions. They have these things that they want to do, like bucket lists, but very few actually translate that into action. And so what I do is I help my clients, and I call them the rockstar clients, make it happen. So for them, it's about finding purpose. It's about getting clarity and confidence. It's about playing big in their lives and really making their lives worth living.
Right. Now, you're also a connoisseur of life.
I am.
This is living life to the fullest.
Yes.
Is very important to you.
It is. It's an extremely big theme in my life. It all began at a young age. I was very fortunate, I guess, or unfortunate, I don't know, it depends on how you want to see it. I experienced a lot of deaths early on in my life. And I think when you're faced with deaths, it really challenges you to ask yourself, what does living mean? And so
Right.
I actually experienced 3 in a row, so 3 at the same time every single year,
Wow.
and realized by the 3rd one that I hadn't even gotten over the 1st one. So I ran through a big spiral in my life where I almost felt like I lost control. But then it challenged me, and it almost was like a resurrection in my life where it said, okay, what does this mean to you?
Right.
How will that change your life? How will that make things different? Or are you going to continue on the same path you're on? And a couple years later, I faced the most heartwarming and heartbreaking loss of my aunt, who I speak highly of. She's the biggest teacher I've ever had. She had the mentality of a 5-year-old, breast cancer, lost her sight, lost her hearing. But she taught me that, you know, you don't have to have an education to be a fantastic teacher. You don't have to have a lot materialistically to give a lot, you know. And it was little things that made a huge difference. She collected rubber bands. Rubber bands that mean nothing to you, me, was like winning the lottery for her. You know, so my life is about honoring her and showing what it means to be a connoisseur of life.
Now, your background, of course, you worked in the corporate world.
Yes, I did.
Before you launched out on your own, and you described yourself as sort of the jack of all trades, turning yourself into, somebody described you as the Easter Bunny meets Santa Claus.
Yeah, it was really, really funny. I worked in the corporate world for a while in change management, experience creation, also event planning. Also worked with sales and marketing teams and really helped facilitate and helped with acquisitions and transitions for people. And what I realized, and I think what other people realized, is I was doing a lot of the behind the scenes work, where people didn't really know how it happened. They just knew it happened. So things would show up and they'd be like, how did this happen? So nobody knew who was behind the scenes. And so one of my old bosses actually said, I finally realized what you're like. You're like the Easter Bunny and the Santa Claus. Everybody knows who they are, but they don't know how they do what they do. And so that was a pretty interesting description, and I kind of take that with me wherever I go. So thank you, Doug.
But how did you now make your transition? Because it's very difficult for a lot of people to transition in their careers. It seems to be very, very challenging for many people. I hear people say all the time that you know, they're not happy in their jobs and they're not happy in their career and they really want to do something else, and maybe they have an idea but they just don't know how to get there. Mm-hmm. It seems to be quite challenging until sometimes we have a health issue or a loss. What do you say to people who are really wanting to transition? I mean, what do you do to work with them to help them get through that stage and believe in themselves? Mm-hmm.
You know, I think one of the things we establish is, what is their big picture? What do people really want out of their lives? And why do people want this? Is it because other people say it's a great idea? Is it because of a parent, a spouse, a partner, a teacher, whatever that may be, wants it? Or is it because you as an individual really want it? And then we look at, what's the cost of not doing it at all? What is the cost in your life of staying right where you are, in your own circumstances? And so for a lot of people, and I think that's the difference between people who make it happen and those who just stay same day and repeat. Because the people who are willing to make it happen are saying, you know what, I've had enough, this is enough, I want something more from my life, and I am willing to take the steps to do it. And so really asking yourself, by listening to my fear, because that's what plays a big role, our fear, our internal monologues, which is loud and persistent, by listening to my fear, am I getting what I want? Am I living the life I want? Am I in the relationships that I want? Am I pursuing my passion? Or am I just living just cause? Is it same day on repeat? And so understanding that when you're listening to your fear, you have ignored courage.
You've ignored courage.
Yeah. But when you listen to your courage, which is silent but strong, it comes from the gut, you know, your courage. When you're listening to courage, fear does not exist. You're saying no to fear. And so helping my clients, and even me on a regular basis, saying, what do I want? Which one will allow me to live the life I want and have the biggest impact I can, and to inspire and to empower the people around me and help them elevate their game? And I'll tell you one thing, fear is not the answer. So becoming friends with courage is probably one of my biggest tips to people, is getting to know that, and it comes from within.
So it comes from within. And do you have any sort of tools that you can pull out of your toolbox and say, okay, this is how you actually listen to your courage? Because it's easy to say, listen to your courage and don't listen to your fear. Yeah. But there are people out there who, many people who want to transition, but they've got a mortgage and they've got, a car loan, and they've got kids that they have to feed and put through school. And these voices in the back of the head says, okay, bills rack up every month, and yet they have a dream to do something else. And maybe they feel stuck. So, listening to courage isn't always easy.
It's not easy. And I always tell people, living a fulfilled life is not easy. That's why you don't see very many people living it. It's very easy to do things like staying where you are, because it's comfortable. It's certain for some people. So to be friends with courage, it does not mean being irresponsible. And I never encourage people to be irresponsible. The bigger thing is to be responsible. Take responsibility for those dreams. Take responsibility for the visions you want and the life you want. When you can take responsibility, that's when change can happen. That's when you can make things happen. But if you're going to blame it on every other person and every other circumstance, and I can't do this, and focus on I can't, you never will. It's about transforming those I can'ts to I can. So maybe you can't quit your job right away, but what can you do to walk one step further towards your vision? Whether it's take a course, whether it's create that vision board so you can see it right in front of you, so you can wake up every morning to say, this is the life I want. Whether it's to get clear on who is that soulmate that you want. Everybody wants that partner, but they have no idea what they're looking for. They just know what they're not looking for. So I get them to get clear on, what do you want? Why do you want this? And like I said, coming back to take responsibility for it. If this is your life, this is your dream, it's your responsibility. And it's your responsibility to make it happen.
And someone told me some years ago that the difference between a child and an adult is responsibility. So when we're taking responsibility, we are really being an adult, and taking action is a very big part of that.
Yep.
But what about inspiration? I mean, is inspiration the thing that really drives us?
I always say this: your big picture has to be big and bold. It has to be inspiring and compelling. It has to wake you up every morning. If it doesn't, it's not big enough. And it's about fine focus. And it's something that I work on with myself and with my clients and the people around me. It's about taking fine focus, those small and significant steps to getting towards your big picture. So inspiring, yes, your big picture has to be inspiring. It has to be compelling. It has to wake you up and energize you and ignite you and cause you to say, wow, that's what I want. This is not what I want, that's what I want. And then take the steps to get there. Whether it's, you reach out for help, you talk to your mentors, talk to your friends, get a coach, whatever that might be. But taking those small and significant action steps to get there.
And, I think you said something that's very significant, is that it's taking small action steps. Yeah. I think, perhaps when we have a big dream, it's, so that raises all sorts of fear.
Yeah.
So, the only way really is to take it in bite-sized steps and break it down. Hire a coach.
Yeah, I think one of the best quotes I heard was, yard by yard it's hard, inch by inch it's a cinch. And when we can apply that to our lives and understand that we take each moment as it comes. And something that I want to talk about a little later on is about choice. Making no choice is a choice. So start by the choices you make, what you eat, what you say yes to, what you say no to, how you spend your time. Those are ways that you can take significant steps towards living the lives you want.
Now we're going to take a quick break, and that's a perfect segue. And before we do, I have my regular Good to Know Minute, and I'm going to ask you for your top tip on living a successful life.
I think my top tip to anybody is be honest with yourself. Get to know yourself. Get to know what's important to you, what you value. Spend some time getting to know that person within. What does success mean to you? What does living fully mean to you? What does living a life well spent mean to you? And I think at the end of the day, for you to receive the best that the world has to offer, that life has to offer, you have to be willing to be your very best self each and every day. And so live, love, laugh, be grateful, celebrate, learn to let go, play it forward, and repeat. And that's what I would offer to everybody.
Love it. Well, thank you, Joann Lim.
You're very welcome.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more with the Making It Happen specialist, Joann Lim. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Extraordinary Women TV with Shannon Skinner, and I am speaking with the Making It Happen specialist, Joann Lim, who is a soccer player, foodie, world traveler, and what's interesting about you is you have already experienced your first retirement.
I have indeed.
But you're not retired any longer.
No, I've probably got my second win in a career that I absolutely love and was tailor-made for me, I guess. Yeah, I retired, and you know, what's funny about retirement is it's about seizing one step. It's just the end of an era. And so the first part of my life was about an era where I realized what fit and what didn't fit. And so when I realized something didn't fit, it was about, do I stay there or do I move forward and find something that does fit? And I think that's where I am now, is in a thing that fits me. When I talk about fit, it's about things that enhance who you are. It brings out the very best in you, and it inspires you and sparks you. You know, just like clothes. You know, clothes that fit you should accentuate what you have, should highlight your beauty and make you feel radiant and powerful and confident. And so like that, so with your relationships, with your career, ask yourself, does this fit me?
And one of the things that's very important to you is world travel, and you
Yes.
got the bug. You got the bug when you were quite young, with what, 3 farm vacations when you were
3 farm vacations.
child?
I don't know how many families, or Asian families per se, think, oh, I want to go on vacation. Let's go to a farm. You know, but my parents are phenomenal people. They really embedded the value of experiences and really experiencing all that you can. And so they, at a young age, they took us to 3 farm vacations. So by the age of 6, I had been on 3. By the age of 10, I had traveled the world. And I don't know how many people can say that. And so I'm very, very blessed and very, very grateful for them. So thank you, Mom and Dad, to have been able to see the world. And so that bug just kind of grew and grew and grew. And as I grew older, and I still am traveling, I try to travel as much as I can because it really allows me to learn about people. And I think that's the magic of traveling. You get to see the world and life through the eyes of others.
It's a great way to connect, isn't
Yes.
it, with others?
Yes.
Learn about cultures. It's very stimulating,
It
too.
is. And I've
Yeah.
also been very, very fortunate. I come from a very multicultural family, so a lot of mix of races and stuff. And so I really value that. I really value the understanding of what culture brings, how people define life, how people define a life fulfilled means, and what success means to them.
Now, something we did touch on in the first segment was the whole topic about people making transitions in their careers, and how they can go about it, and the fears that come up. And of course, you're the Making It Happen specialist. You are the one to make it happen. What advice or tips can you give someone who is watching the show and they're saying, wow, I want to travel more. I want to have a job that I feel fulfilled. I want to look glamorous. I want something different, but I just don't know how to get there. Can you maybe walk me through some steps?
Yeah.
What would you do?
You know, I would ask this person, what does success look like to you? What does that magical life to you look like? Whether you vision board it, whether you do point form, I have some clients who use Excel spreadsheets, whatever tickles your fancy, it's about getting clear on what's important to you. What would that mean? And then starting to look at the small and significant steps to get there. And that starts with 3 areas that I look at: choice, passion, and action. And the key to all of them is I. It's not about everybody else, it's about I.
Our own values.
You got it.
Right.
So really, your choice. What are you choosing each and every day? Are you choosing to sleep in? Are you choosing to wake up early and get a jump start on your day? Are you choosing to have fast food or having a home-cooked meal? Are you choosing to watch TV or go out and meet people? Really, depending on what your long-term vision is and what your goals for your life are, your choices need to align to that. Is it helping you get there or taking you away? Passion, so your choices need to be toward your passion. What do you want to pass on to people? Passion is I pass on. So what do you want to pass on to others? When you leave a conversation, what do you want to leave them with? Do you want to leave them feeling empowered and inspired, or challenged and destroyed?
And of course, a lot of people are drowning in their own pain, so they may not even be able to get to that point where, and that's maybe where a coach can help them see it. But so many people are still in this place of unfulfillment and not feeling joy, that they themselves haven't even thought, okay, now how can I get there?
Yeah, and it comes back to that choice.
Right.
Choosing that you want it more than you're afraid of it. Saying that I want to live a fulfilled life. I want things to change. Versus saying I'm okay living the way I are. There's a lot of people that say I want change, but they'll do nothing about it.
Right.
And that's the difference. The people who are serious about wanting change in their lives say I want change and this is what I'm willing to do for it.
Right. Stepping into the fear.
Yeah.
Often, isn't it?
It's facing your fear, which is an act of courage, and letting it propel you versus hold you back. And fear, as most people know, is false evidence appearing real. It's false. So if you're listening to something that's false, what does that say about you? And so really stepping into it and saying, okay, this is what I'm afraid of. This is why, and get to the root of it. And I do this on a regular basis. Why am I afraid of this?
Some people will embrace their fear and they'll say, if I'm feeling fear, then therefore there's something there for me to learn. So I will walk into it or I will embrace it simply because I'm afraid.
One of the biggest choices I always offer to my clients is, are you seeing it as an obstacle or an opportunity?
Oh, interesting, yeah.
Two perspectives, same situation. One's going to hold you back and one's going to propel you forward. Your choice on which one you choose will dictate what happens next. So a lot of my, for my clients, it's about seeing things as opportunities. I am fearful of this, but I see an opportunity for me to grow, to develop, to go out of my comfort zone, and to try new things.
In your practice, do you see that most people have a general idea of what success is? Is it something that you see defined by society and what they see around them, or do you think that more often than not people are looking internally to define success that's personal to them?
I think what's really interesting is, as a society on a whole, we operate like success is a universal term, that everybody's definition is the same. I did an interesting exercise with a group from the Millennium Network conference a couple months ago, where I had all of the attendees write out what success means to me. No two definitions were the same. Because success is a personal thing. To make it meaningful to each one of us, we have to know how it works to us. What does success mean to me? Success for Joann Lim is maybe very different from Shannon Skinner, sorry. I have a friend named Aaron Skinner.
That's right.
And so, like I said, coming back to that tailored life aspect, to know what fits you best, you got to know what these elements mean. To know your proportions,
Right. Now, how would you define success?
Success to me is leaving people and places better than I found them. It's being able to provide opportunities and experiences for others. It's being able to elevate people's game and helping them live a fulfilled life. So at that time, when the door, somebody knocks on the door and says, this is your last day on earth, they can say, you know what? Okay, I'm ready, because I've lived up to this point. Sure, I can live more, but if this is it, I'm happy. And so that would truly be what success means to me.
I was in a course recently, and the gentleman who was running it, we were talking about this topic, and the gentleman that was running it said, okay, so I'm going to ask you, if you had 3 hours to live, he asked the class, if you had 3 hours to live, what are you going to do with your time? And I believe every single one of those people responded in a way of spending time with their loved ones. They'd be on the phone with them, they'd reach out. These were people who were traveling from all over the world, so 3 hours doesn't get you very far geographically, but that they would actually spend the time connecting with their loved ones. So what does that tell us about us as humans?
I think what's interesting is given 3 hours to live, most people would do that. But, you know, given in 24 hours a week, nobody would think about that. Very few would think about that. And so that's something that I challenge my clients to constantly think of. We do an exercise called 168, where we break down your currency of life, because time is the only limited resource we have on Earth. But we operate like we have an abundance of it. You know, so understanding how we spend our time, what we want to spend it on, and who we want to spend it with. You know, I had a client recently say to me, I want to start spending time with people that I respect and admire versus just spending time with people just cuz. I think that speaks volumes about that person and what she values in her own time. And so if it's about connection, then start embodying that and start fusing that into your everyday. Reach out, call somebody once a day, write an email, send a smile box, which is one of my favorite things to do, and make it part of your everyday so you're starting to live your, you know, you're down the road now.
What about expressing gratitude?
Gratitude is one of the biggest gifts and joys and powers that everybody has. And it's free. There's no tax. It's free. And it's just about celebrating, acknowledging what you have in this moment in time. You know, for me, I'm very, very blessed to be surrounded by amazing rock stars, an amazing dream team, a really supportive partner, a beautiful family. And so being able to acknowledge them every single day, you know, whether it's saying I love you, whether it's saying thank you, and genuinely saying that, whether one of my favorite things is sending surprise gifts to people, so they never know when it's going to come, but they get a surprise package. So really celebrating what's going on, celebrating today. The fact that I'm on Extraordinary Women TV, that happened on a random connection that may not have happened. So celebrating those elements, and it brings that joy and power into your everyday.
Well, Joann Lim, I've really enjoyed this time with you, and thank you for sharing your a bit of your personal journey and some tips for my viewers. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much for having me.
Making it happen. Well, for more information about upcoming shows or to contact me, please visit the website at extraordinarywomentv.com. Special thanks to the people behind the scenes who helped me make it happen, and one in particular is Jennifer Wu, who is busy behind the scenes with me in trying to get word of the show out. So thank you, Jennifer. If you are interested in transforming your life, I hope these stories have inspired you. You've been watching Extraordinary Women TV with Shannon Skinner. See you soon.